to draw two angles in radians. So radians actually, they're so nice to work with. They make so much sense as long as we just kind of embrace them and make sure we understand what's happening. So our first angle is 5 pi over 4. So the way I think about this is I cover up that 5, the top number, and I say, what are we dividing pi into? Pi is being divided into 4 sections. So I take the pi, now pi is going to go from here to here, and we're going to divide that into 4 different sections. So I know if I go straight up, I'm dividing it in half. Now I've divided that in half, and that in half, and here's my 1, 2, 3, 4 sections of pi. So once I figure out how pi is going to be divided up, then I actually do look at that top number and say, how many of those sections do we want? So pi is divided into 4 sections, and we want 5 of those sections. So we're going to go, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I actually need another section, which means I'm going to go ahead and divide up the lower half of my coordinate plane as well. So now I've divided the lower half into 4 sections, because it's pi over 4, and I just need one more. So I have 4 pi over 4, and there's my 5 pi over 4. So what I do is I do darken in this angle. I put the arrow on this one. I tend to get a lot of lines in what I'm doing, so I want to make it really obvious which one is the actual angle I'm drawing. So there you can see are the 5 sections, the 5 of the pi over 4 sections. So our next angle, 3 pi over 5, again, totally disregard that top number and say, what are we dividing pi into? Pi is being divided into 5 sections. So if you're dividing by an odd number, it gets a little tricky because this axis we actually have to completely ignore. So when we're dividing into 5 sections, you may say, well, how many are on each side? And there's 2.5 and 2.5. So there's my 1, 2. This is kind of my half that now turns into this. It's a little bit off, but there's 3. I always do this so I can remember those are connected so I don't count that line in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, and then here's my 4 and my 5. So I have pi over 5 sections. I actually don't usually write those numbers in, but just as I'm explaining in the video, that seemed to make sense. So you don't need the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we ask ourselves, well, how many of those sections do we want? We want 3 of those. So we're going to count. Here's 1, 2, 3, and our angle is going to land right here. And then again, we make it nice and dark, put the arrow on the end, so anyone looking at this can tell exactly where that angle is. So we took pi, we divided it into 5 sections. We ignored this y-axis because that wasn't part of, it's kind of in the middle of a section. And then we just counted the 3 sections we needed.